Hey Browns fans, we're just a few moments away from the next matchup and I have a lot to cover, so I'll give you all the latest details. But before we dive into today's news, be sure to hit that like button so you don't miss any of the latest updates. We have some big roster moves ahead of week 5, and I know you won't want to miss any of them. Also, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always up to date with everything happening in the Dawg Pound. Okay, let's talk about the changes Cleveland has made ahead of this pivotal game against the Washington Commanders. With the team at 1-3, the pressure is on to avoid falling to 1-4, and some important adjustments have been made. First, we activated point guard Michael Dunn from the reserve/non-football illness list. If you recall, Dunn was placed on that list in late August, but he's now healthy and ready to contribute again. With 40 career games and 6 starts under his belt, his return is a much-needed boost to our offensive line depth. But there's also some tough news. Defensive end Alex Wright is headed to injured reserve. Unfortunately, Wright suffered a freak triceps injury and will require surgery. This is a big blow to our D-line, but we expect a strong recovery. On the positive side, we elevated cornerback Tony Brown to and tight end Jeff Swaim from the practice squad. Brown, with 58 tackles and a solid special teams track record, adds depth to our secondary that could be key against Washington's potent passing attack. And Swaim, he brings some much-needed help at tight end, especially with David Njoku still working his way back. Swaim's 110 career receptions and 6 touchdowns are exactly the kind of experience we need. So what does all this mean as we get closer to the game? The Commanders are hot right now, and with Cleveland listed as a 3-point underdog, we have our work cut out for us. But we've seen this team excel before, and these roster tweaks could be the difference between a win and another tough loss. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think these changes will be enough to help us get over the hump in week 5? Look, we're 1-3. And that's not where any of us expected to be at this point. As we approach Sunday's matchup against the Commanders, the team is at a real crossroads. Our Super Bowl hopes? They're not looking great right now. In fact, according to the New York Times playoff predictor, we have just a 7% chance of making the playoffs, a 2% chance of winning the division, and less than 1% of winning it all. Those numbers are brutal, Browns fans. But here's the thing. We're not out of this yet, and David Njoku returning to the lineup could be just the spark we need to turn that around. Now, if you've been paying attention, you know that Njoku has been out with a sprained ankle since the opening day loss to the Cowboys. And let's be honest, his absence has been a huge factor in our slow start. The offense didn't have its 2 main weapons, Njoku and Amari Cooper, firing on all cylinders, and that made things tough for Deshaun Watson to get into a rhythm. When you have new pieces trying to fit into a new offense, and your key guys are out or inconsistent, it's tough to get things going. Last season, Njoku led the Browns with 81 receptions and 6 touchdowns, racking up 882 yards. That kind of production is hard to replace, and without him, we've struggled to get that same energy on the field. But now, even though he's listed as questionable, Njoku is ready to come back and make a difference. I just want to be out there for my team, Njoku said. I want to be out there giving them the energy that they require, and then vice versa. Hopefully, I'm out there. So, what does Njoku bring to the table? He calls it an energy surge. And if you've seen him play, you know exactly what he's talking about. He's loud, he's vocal, he's a bit crazy on the field, but that's the kind of energy we've been missing these past few games. He's not just a playmaker, he's a leader, someone who can get the offense fired up and bring some much-needed juice to the huddle. From the outside looking in, Njoku's seeing what we've all seen. The Browns are beating themselves. Too many mistakes, too many penalties, too many missed opportunities. I feel like we've really beat ourselves in every game. Mistakes that set us back behind the 8 ball, Njoku said, and he's not wrong. In this league, it's hard enough to win when you're playing your best football, but when you're constantly setting yourself back, it feels impossible. Njoku suffered that ankle injury during what he believes was an illegal hip drop tackle by Cowboys linebacker Eric Kendricks. He finished the game with 4 catches for 44 yards, including a 29-yarder, but that injury sidelined him for the last 3 games. Kendricks wasn't flagged or fined, but Njoku isn't dwelling on it. He's focused on getting back out there and helping the Browns right the ship. Despite the injury, Njoku is still confident he can achieve his goals this season. I can definitely still show early in the year, he said. I feel like I can still do a lot of things that I set out to do, and that's exactly what we need right now. Someone who's determined to step up and make an impact, even with the season not going the way we hoped. And it's not just about Njoku's individual goals. He still believes this team, with all the talent we've got, can pull out of this 1-3 hole and get back to where we want to be. But let's be real, This game against the Commanders is huge. If we lose, we're digging ourselves into an even deeper hole. And Njoku knows it. It's all ahead of us, he said. 1-3 doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. So we're just going to play our best ball week in and week out and see where we can go. And Deshaun Watson, Njoku sees a quarterback who is doing his job and just needs a little more help. I think he played well, Njoku said. I feel like we all need to come together and play our best. And he's right. Watson has been making plays, but we haven't been able to capitalize on them enough. With Njoku back on the field, maybe that will change. Last season, Njoku was one of the NFL's top tight ends. He ranked 15th among tight ends according to Pro Football Focus, and he was number 1 in the NFL in yards after catch with 608. That's the kind of production we need right now. That's the kind of weapon Watson needs in this offense. So, Browns fans, what do you think? Could David Njoku's return be the spark that turns this season around? Are we about to see our offense finally click? Let me know what you think in the comments below. This isn't just any Sunday game. We're facing a rookie quarterback who is absolutely on fire. Jaden Daniels, the 2nd overall pick in the draft, has taken the NFL by storm, and if the Browns want to come out on top, we're going to have to find a way to slow him down. Daniels is leading the NFL in completion percentage, a crazy 82.1% through 4 games. To put that in perspective, he's ahead of Tom Brady's 2007 record for completion percentage through the first 4 games. That's right, he's making NFL history, and we're the next team in his path. Now, Browns fans, you know what this means. We're in for a test. But we know one thing for sure, our defense is up to the challenge. Head coach Kevin Stefanski has been preparing the team hard this week, and he's been impressed with what he's seen from Daniels so far. He mentioned how Daniels not only makes plays within the scheme, but also finds ways to make things happen outside of it. That's tough for any defense, but Stefanski believes we have the pieces to make it work. The real trick is stopping those high-percentage passes. That's where cornerback Greg Newsome too comes in. He was watching tape and pointed out how Daniels reminds him of C.J. Stroud from last season, accurate, efficient, and not playing like a rookie. Newsome stressed that we can't treat him like a first-year player. He's already playing at a high level, so the Browns secondary will need to be locked in. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz made that exact comparison this week. Twice a year, we face Jackson, and we know how challenging it can be to stop someone with that kind of versatility. Daniels may not be at Lamar's level yet, but he's on his way, and if we let our guard down, we'll regret it. That's why linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is in Lamar mode this week, preparing to shadow Daniels just as he did Jackson. So what's the key to unsettling a quarterback like Daniels? Myles Garrett summed it up perfectly. Pressure, and not just blitzes or extra men on the line. We need our front 4 to put consistent pressure on him, make him uncomfortable, and force him to throw from odd angles. Garrett emphasized that we can't let Daniels get out of the pocket. We have to mess with his timing, get our hands up to knock down those quick throws, and just keep the pressure on him all game long. We've seen what Garrett and company are capable of, and Sunday is the perfect opportunity to show why we're one of the best defenses in the league. All right, Browns fans, now it's your turn. What do you think? Can we keep Daniels in check and come away with a big win on Sunday? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all the latest Browns news. Go Browns!